Hey everyone, this is Jim. This is the current pattern I'm working on. It's by Judy Niemeyer. Most of quilters out there know about Judy Niemeyer. Anyway, this is a pattern called Caribbean Starfish that I'm working on. I'm about maybe halfway through. Right now, I am currently working on this ring of flying geese. These are called flying geese. These little triangles, and they're done in sections, so I have to make a total of 40 of these, but what I'm working on right now is there are 8 of this left point, 8 of the right point, and then 8 of the center point. Right now I'm only doing these 8 left ones. So when they're finished, they look like this. That's the idea. And the nice thing about paper piecing is you get these nice, crisp, tight points that everybody's after. That's the whole reason for paper piecing. So right now I've got these 3 left to do, and I thought, there's a lot of people out there that are intimidated by paper piecing. Maybe if I did a little video, it might inspire some people to give it a shot. So anyway, so I'm going to show you how to finish these units, and maybe that'll make you want to try something. The idea of paper piecing is you sew onto this paper foundation. This is newsprint, so it's real easy to go through with the needle and easy to pull off at the end. All you do is sew on these lines, and as long as you follow them in order and do it correctly, you will end up with perfect pieces. So here we go. Okay, so the next piece is going to go on to I've already sewn this triangle on. You can see it's way bigger than the other 3 that are already finished. So we're going to finish these 2 sides, one here and one here. So if you look at the back here, sorry, I've got my camera on a tripod, so I'm trying to work around this. So you see this one says section 12. This one over here says, you can read it, section 13. So we want to do them in order, so we're going to do 12. And so this is the line that you're going to sew on right here between the triangle and this new piece that we're adding. So we're going to do a little, I use this stuff called template plastic. It looks like this. It's just a sheet of template plastic that you can buy at any craft store that's got a straight edge on it. And so I'm going to line that up on this line that I'm going to be sewing on, and I'm going to fold this over, and I'm just going to kind of gently pull that back. So now we have the fabric sticking out here on the end. We need a 1/4 inch seam, so we're going to use a thing called a quarter inch ruler. Surprise, surprise. It's got a little lip on it right here. It's got a little lip that goes up against this edge right here, and that's going to allow me to get a 1/4 inch, perfect 1/4 inch seam. So we're going to line that up right like that, and I'm going to take my rotary cutter and I'm just going to cut along that edge, and now I've got a nice 1/4 inch seam right there. Alright, so these are the pieces that are pre-cut. The patterns come with this template for a cutting template to cut out each of the pieces. So you get pieces of fabric that are going to go on each section, and they are always bigger than they need to be because you're going to cut them back. So these are the pieces that I'm going to put on next. So I'm just going to take one of these, and I'm going to take that piece that I just did the edge on, so it's this one. And what I need to do is I need this piece here, sorry, to cover this piece of paper here. And this is where my seam was, my edge was cut. So I'm just going to line this up right here on this edge. And I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to fold it over So now I'm going to sew, I'm off the camera, right here on this line. Okay, so here I am at the sewing machine, and I'm just going to take this, and this is the line that I'm sewing on right here. So I'm just going to start up here, a little bit above the end of the line, and I'm just going to sew down till I get to the bottom. And I like to backstitch these on the edge, because if you don't, the seams can start to kind of come apart, even though I'm using a really small seam. So right on my machine, I like to, for paper piecing, I use 1.6 setting for the stitch length. You want a tight stitch length because you're going to tear this paper out, and you don't want to rip the seam out when you take the paper off. So okay, so I'm going to go back and I'm going to show you how to clean this up. Okay, so this is the seam right here that I just sewed on the sewing machine. So all we have to do at this point is we're just going to press the seam, and I just want to press it up so that the piece lies nice and flat. Okay, so now we've got this one piece left here that we have to cover. So we're going to turn this over, and this is the final sew line right here. And so all I'm going to do is take my template plastic and put it on the line. Oops, sorry, I just hit the camera. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to fold this over on the line that I'm going to sew on, and I'm just going to gently pull that back. This is all the excess fabric. And then I'm going to take my little add a quarter ruler and press it up there against the edge. And I'm just going to cut off that excess fabric. And now I've got a nice, perfect, straight edge to sew on that is 1/4 of an inch from this edge. All right, and then the last piece of paper is right here. I like to keep these pinned and sewn with the piece that tells you what number it is, so that you don't get confused and don't get out of order. So we're going to take this one of these, and this is going to go, it's got to cover this edge. Oops, sorry, it's got to cover this edge right here. So I'm just going to take it and put it, and these pieces for this section are way bigger than they need to be, but so I'm not even worried about trying to figure out if I'm going to cover it or not, because I know I'm going to cover it. Anyway, so I've got this. I'm going to turn it over this way. So right here on this line. Okay, so here I go sewing this last stitch line, and it is this line right here. So I'm going to put it down, and since this is the outside edge, I'm going to double stitch here, or back stitch. Just a few stitches, just so that I know that seam's not going to come apart when I pull the paper off. So here we go. And this is also an outside edge, so I'm going to back stitch this one as well. Okay, so here is my final piece. It's all done. It just needs to have these outside edges trimmed up. And on this piece, you can see it's got straight edges up here. These are straight. And these are straight, but these outside edges are slight curves. So we got to cut those outside curves a little bit differently than these end pieces. So I'm going to start by cutting these little end pieces, and you can see right here there's a there's a little tiny corner. These patterns come with these things called smart corners, and so I'm going to cut right along that line and cut out that little piece so that it's nice and straight with this corner edge, because this line is going to help me line up this piece in the quilt. So you want to be real careful about those. All right, let me get this. Oh, I don't have any fingernails, so I can't get any of these scraps out. So I'm going to cut these straight edges on the ends. And the way I do that is I line up my, I'm doing it backwards. I line up my ruler so that my quarter inch is right on this 1/4 inch line for the seam. And I'm just going to cut off this outside part. So now it looks like this. Okay, so what I'm talking about with the 1/4 inch edge is there's two lines here. So I line up my 1/4 inch on my ruler to this inside line so that my outside edge of the ruler is right along this outside edge here. So I'm going to cut out these last two straight seams, doing the same thing. There's one, and there's the second one. So now my two straight edges are trimmed up. But I still have these, here's the straight edges. I still have these outside curved ones. And the way I do that is I hold a corner of the piece and I just take my rotary cutter and put it right on the edge, right there where it's going to start. And I'm just going to slowly go along this curve. And the reason I'm holding the corner is because I can put a little bit of tension on this so that the fabric stays nice and straight where it's up against the rotary blade. If you don't tug on it a little bit, it can bunch up a little bit. So you don't want it to bunch up. So now I'm going to do this inside curve. And like I said, these are really gentle curves. I'm going to do it the same way. I'm going to start it and then just tug on the fabric a little bit until I get around this curve. You don't have to go fast, you can go slow. It's not a race here, because I want these to line up perfectly in the quilt, so you got to be careful to not go outside the line. So anyway, the curves have now been cut, and this piece is now ready to go. It looks like that. So here's my little paper piecing demo. Hope you all enjoyed it.